This question stems actually from a debate we had last week with the California Professional Firefighters Union president. Polls show that 70% of firemen and policemen are conservative and they're Republican, but yet we give our votes constantly to the Democratic Party. We throw our names out for this crappy gas tax, for the dialysis center, just a bunch of nonsense that obviously unions have a bad look at. But as a fireman, as a policeman, we, again, have been giving our vote out. What can we do? What can I do to bridge that gap of those 70% of conservatives and win that vote? How can we bridge the gap with Republicans and go, hey, I know there's a bad rap with unions, but what can we do in order to change that vote and change the demographic?
I mean, the fact is that, obviously you're right, that the money that is being spent by all of these unions is going toward Democrats because there's a corrupt bargain between the unions and the legislators in the state of California. And the corrupt bargain is that if we spend a lot of money getting you guys elected, you will then sign pension-rich contracts that do not pay out over time simply because the money's not there. I mean, they're lying. Listen, here's the reality. They're lying to police. They're lying to firefighters. When they say that this money is in the pension funds, they are lying to you. It is nonsense. They're saying that stuff is accruing at like 8% a year. Okay, if I could get 8% a year on my money, I'd put my money in there. Like and this is true for virtually every public union in the state of California, which is why what you're seeing in cities like Stockton is that the first people who are getting nailed are the police and the firefighters. Right? This is what's happening all over the state of California. So listen, I've been long in favor of right-to-work states. I think that getting rid of a corrupt system by which the state takes wages out of the pockets of professionals and then gives them to unions to be spent on the election of those legislators again, that is corrupt and terrible. And the only way that's going to stop is if people are able to actually form voluntary associations without the imprimatur of the state. If you want to negotiate with your boss, that's fine. But if you want to negotiate with the state of California on the basis of legislation that is promulgated, that's a real problem. That's a real problem. The unions are, public sector unions are a threat, and I know that it's become unpopular even in conservative circles to talk about public sector unions for cops and firefighters because we love cops and firefighters. But the fact is that the logic is no different than it is for any other public sector employee. And if we're not willing to say that, then that's what we're going to get. We're going to get a lot of money that is spent by unions that don't even represent their own constituents politically. There can be regulations that are put in place that prevent the use of those monies for politics themselves, which would be another way of doing this. If you don't want to actually just get rid of the unions, then what you do is you say they're not allowed to spend this money on politicking. They can only spend this money on services for their own members.
Thank you.